Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjala Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishvanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripasindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhaktaranya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you all for joining. It's very privileged for me to have the association of all you devotees. It is actually a great opportunity for me to be able to discuss Krishna Katha in your association. I've been out of touch, I can say, on online association for quite some time now, due to all the activities happening here and everything happening in our lives. So, okay, is there any questions that anybody would like to ask that we can maybe learn together, or any specific topics that we can explore? Anything, just so that we throw the ball and start discussing. Otherwise, I will.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, another pronunciation of Prabhupada.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Shida Krishna Prabhu. I had not
Hare
seen
Krishna
you.
Prabhu,
Haribol. How are you, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. I am okay, Prabhu by the mercy of Prabhupada.
Jai.
Prabhu, I have a question on the demigod worship. Can I ask Prabhu?
In the what, Prabhu?
Demigod worship.
Yes.
So, how do we convince demigod worshippers to accept that Krishna is the supreme authority?
Hmm. Okay. So yes, demigod worshippers. Huh? So I think this is good of you to be concerned like that, because obviously that is more a topic that is important for Indians coming from Hindu background. This is the difficulty. So first we will, of course, go to the Bhagavad Gita, as this is the basis, and we're gonna see what Lord Krishna says about this. So like that, by reading, we'll get more realization, we'll be able to discuss more. So I will be sharing. Let me see if are you seeing here?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
So this is Pocket Veda. I managed to install it on the computer. You can actually do that. So okay. So first of all, okay, demigod worship. What's the cause? Why do people want to be worshiping demigods? Huh? So see, after speaking, the Lord spoke of of pure devotees here. You see, he speaks of four types of pious men that start to render devotional service to Krishna. So the distressed, the desire of wealth, inquisitive, and he who is searching knowledge of the absolute. And then he says of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who's always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I'm very dear to him and he is dear to me. So the Lord here is stressing of the devotee who's in full knowledge. Hmm? So first of all, there is knowledge that is important, and then the activities that follow that. Because all our activities are based on the knowledge that we have. So who is always engaged in pure devotional service. So he's always engaged in devotional service only? No, in pure devotional service. That is the best. So that is the pure devotee. So it is based on knowledge. Then he says all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Very rare, someone who understands that Krishna is everything. Hmm? Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. And then he says, and this is not easy, it's not everybody. So after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So Krishna says that it takes many births and many deaths in order to be um, actually in knowledge. So it's based on knowledge. Hmm? So one who is actually in knowledge is going to be surrendering. So knowing me to be the cause of all that is, that soul, such a great soul is very rare. But then the Lord continues by saying, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires. This is the problem. So they have got material desire. Of course, in the Vedic times, everybody was ruled by one scripture, the Vedas. There was no other scripture, there was no other culture. It was the Vedic culture only. So anyone who was materialistic was starting to worship the demigods. We can see Hiranyakashipu worshipping Brahma, Ravan worshipping Lord Shiva. So even the demons used to surrender unto demigods in order to become powerful and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. If we go see Kama istasta rita jnana, rita jnana, deprived of jnana, knowledge. So because of material desire, they become deprived of knowledge. And because they are deprived of knowledge, they do not have what is that knowledge? Satchidananda. So this chit shakti of the Lord, this knowledge revealing, because Krishna says, Tesham evanu kampartam aham jnana jam tamaha nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhavata. So Krishna will give the knowledge to those who are actually worshipping him. But actually, it's not that he is adding the knowledge. He's simply cleaning the heart, and the knowledge comes because the living entity in itself is Satchidananda. So that knowledge is part of us. We are made of that knowledge. Just like this body that we have now is blood, bone, stool, so many things. But the spiritual body is actually composed of something, and it is this Satchidananda. So this Chit Shakti of the Lord is already there in us. So all the Lord needs to do is to remove. Hmm? We're gonna see all these seven chapter verses. We're gonna go one by one. So in 725, the Lord will say why these people cannot understand. So they become deprived of jnana. Why? Because kamaistai, they have various material desires. So, because they have many material desires, the Lord deprives them of the knowledge that they have. And because their intelligence is not clear, they go and surrender into demigod. So therefore, these material desires have to diminish. That's how they will be able to slowly come to their senses. Hmm? Prapadyante anya devata tam tam niyamamastaya prakritya niyatasvaya. So the Lord locks them into their nature, you see, because following prakritya, by nature, their own nature, niyata, controlled, svaya. You see, so prakritya niyata svaya, they become controlled by their own nature. Mm. So although they might say, just like at one point we were, it was the Tamil New Year, a while back, we were at this Murugan temple, so Kartikeya, yeah. So there's this one Hindu, so he comes in front of Jai Govinda Prabhu and he says, "There's only one Lord, Lord Kartikeya," like that. You see. So
Yes, Prabhu.
they think that they are choosing. They're not choosing. It's Krishna who's locking them into their nature. They're forced to surrender unto a demigod. They're not independent. They think that out of their own free will and out of their intelligent discrimination, they have come to understand. It is not like that. Intelligence is not something that is, how can I say, you do not have the free will to choose which type of intelligence you have. That is imposed upon by Krishna. It's all His mercy. So those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. And Prabhupada says, those who are freed from all material contamination surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in His devotional service. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off, they are by nature non-devotees. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature. Because of approaching the right goal, they soon become free from all material lusts. So now we have a distinction here. So there are people who they also have material desires, but they go to Krishna. So these people are superior. Hmm? Because here we can see that they're, even though they have material desire, they're not so much attracted by external nature. And because they're pursuing the right goal, they will soon become free from material lust. So somehow or other, we have to bring them to Krishna. And that's why in every demigod worship, there is Vishnu also. Any yajna that you do, there's the yajna purusha. So Vishnu is there. So that somehow or other, these demigod worshippers, they have to come in touch with Vishnu. Hmm. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee and is free from all material desires, or is full of material desires, or desires liberation from material contamination, he should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva, worship him as stated in the Bhagavatam. So akama sarvakamo va mukshakama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Less intelligent people who have lost their spiritual sense take shelter of demigods for immediate fulfillment of material desires. Generally, such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are in the lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, and therefore worship various demigods. Yeah. So the variety of worship of demigods is due to the modes of nature. Just like those who are in the mode of um, ignorance and goodness. Of course, here, the modes is they mix, right? So here this says ignorance and passion. You cannot actually be in goodness when you worship the demigod because it is Vishnu. But within the demigod worship, there's also classification. For example, passion, goodness is Surya, goodness, ignorance is Ganesh, like that. There's different. So according to the contamination you have, you'll be attracted to a particular demigod. For following the rules and regulations of worship, they are satisfied. The worshippers of demigods are motivated by small desires and do not know how to reach the supreme goal. But a devotee of the Supreme Land is not misguided. So you see small desires. See? Even Hiranyakashipu's desire are compared to small desires. Even Ravan's desires are compared to small desires because they're all asat. Whatever is asat is infinitely small compared to Sanatan, the eternal existence of the living entity. And therefore, these people are called Kripanya. They're a miser. because they don't know how to utilize the wealth of human birth. Just like someone who has got $1 billion and he's keeping it in his bank, and he doesn't even want to buy good shoes, or he doesn't even want to buy a nice car, thing like that. He's a miser. He doesn't know how to properly utilize his wealth. So similarly, human form of life is so precious because one can worship Vasudeva. One can worship the Supreme Lord and become again a devotee and be freed from the cycle of birth and death. That is an amazing chance. It is extremely rare. But they waste their time worshipping some little demigod to get some beautiful woman or this or that, which is actually death for the soul. There is this nice um, painting that shows. Can you see those pictures here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm. So you see, although the demigods are externally beautiful, what they offer is death for the ignorant. Hmm. So we have goddess with Sarasvati, right? Knowledge. So the diploma is actually death for the fool who will become more proud and think that he's very much knowledgeable, but he's actually Maya Paritagyana, a fool whose knowledge has been stolen by illusion. And then this is Surya, and those who want to be very healthy, they worship the sun god. So with this Ayurvedic thing and all, and what's gonna happen? His senses will become strong, and again he'll become engaged in sense gratification. And this is Uma, so the wife of Lord Shiva, worshipped to get a beautiful wife. So we actually see that it is death for the conditioned soul. So going back, so they're called Kripanyas, hmm? Because in the Vedic literature there are recommendations for worshipping different gods for different purposes. A diseased man is recommended to worship the sun. Those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. So this is why Hindu families they end up having so many, like the altar is unending, because they think that I need this from that person, I need that from this person, or and they will put many different so-called gurus also because they'll be afraid. Oh, maybe he's an incarnation of God, and I'll commit offense. Therefore, I need to put that. So it becomes like a a supermarket of demigods. Whatever they want, they'll go to this one and that one. And so that is all based on avidya, ignorance, not understanding that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So Govindam Adi Purusham. They lack the knowledge that there is a supreme Lord that is above all demigods, and that these demigods are simply servants of the Almighty. So again, we come back to lack of knowledge. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the master of all. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5.142 it is said, Ekaleshvara Krishna Arasabda Bhritya. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is master, and all others are servants. Therefore, a pure devotee never goes to demigods for the satisfaction of his material needs. He depends on the Supreme Lord, and the pure devotee is satisfied with whatever he gives. So, they are situated in ignorance. So, what they need is proper knowledge. But due to their material desires, they cannot be, um, their intelligence is distorted. Mm. So, the Lord then says, I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So even the faith that they have in demigods is given by Krishna. In other words, they cannot become so-called devotees of their deities without Krishna's mercy. It is also Krishna doing that. So the only driver here is the Lord, actually. It's not that they want, they have the choice or whatever. It's Krishna who's doing this. So Maybe you can read Prabhu, Shida Krishna Prabhu, the
Yes,
purport.
Prabhu. God has given independence to everyone. Therefore, if a person desires to have material enjoyment and wants very sincerely to have such facilities from the material demigods, the Supreme Lord, as super soul in everyone's heart, understands and gives facilities to such persons. As the Supreme Father of all living entities, he does not interfere with their independence, but gives all facilities so that they can fulfill their material desires. Some may ask why the all powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world and so lets them fall into the trap of the illusory energy. The answer is that if the Supreme Lord, as Super Soul, does not give such facilities, then there is no meaning to independence. Therefore, he gives full independence, whatever one likes. But his ultimate instruction we find in the Bhagavad Gita: one should give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto him. That will make man happy. Both the living entity and the demigods are subordinate to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the living entity cannot worship the demigod by his own desire, nor can the demigod bestow any benediction without the supreme will. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, persons who are distressed in the material world go to the demigods, as they are advised in the Vedic literature. A person wanting some particular thing may worship such and such a demigod. For example, a deceased person is recommended to worship the sun god. A person wanting education may worship the goddess of learning Saraswati, and a person wanting a beautiful wife may worship the goddess Uma,
So
the
we
wife
can
of Lord
see
Shiva.
that the painting we've just saw was
Yes, Lord.
based on this purport of Prabhupada. So sun god, he become healthy, Sarasvati, the knowledge. His Grace Nagopa Prabhu was telling that when he was young, that he was putting his homework in front of Sarasvati Devi. So like that. So this is the normal Hindu mentality, that okay, for this purpose, go see that demigod, that purpose, that demigod.
Yes, Lord. In this way, there are recommendations in the Shastras, Vedic scriptures, for different modes of worship of different demigods. And because a particular living entity wants to enjoy a particular material facility, then the Lord inspires him with a strong desire to achieve that benediction from that particular demigod. And so he successfully receives the benediction. The particular mode of devotional attitude of the living entity towards a particular type of demigod is also arranged by the Supreme Lord. The demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity, but because he is the Supreme Lord, or the super soul present in the hearts of all living entities, Krishna gives impetus to man to worship certain demigods.
See, this is an important point here, right? That you see,
Yes, Lord.
the demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity. So the demigods are not even empowered to make their disciple, surrender to them. That is also done by Krishna, you know.
Yes,
And
Lord.
so, so it's not that the demigod will choose, or that even the person will choose. Of course, the person wants to go away from Krishna, and therefore is lost within the three modes, is tossing left and right by Rajaguna, Tamaguna, Sattva-guna, like that. But it is Krishna still who infuses that. So since the Lord is the supreme controller, he also is the one that can remove that. Mm. So the demigod.
The demigods are actually different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they have no independence. In the Vedic literature, it is stated the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Super Soul is also present within the heart of the demigod. Therefore, he arranges through the demigod to fulfill the desire of the living entity. But both the demigod and the living entity are not are dependent on the supreme will. They are not independent.
Mm. Yes. So
So,
we can see that it's a lack of knowledge due to Krishna not making them understand, Krishna making them um, fixed into their own nature and as worshippers of demigods. Huh? So we'll continue. So here, endowed with such a fate, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Then men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So, of course, there's other verses in the Gita that speaks like that also. By worshiping the demigod, you go there. Worshiping the ghosts and spirits, you become ghosts, and so on. So now the difficulties that us as devotees, aspiring to advance in devotional life, we might be meeting our family members that are worshiping other demigods. So that is I would say, a common happening, especially for Hindus. So we have to become strong ourselves, correct? The first thing is to make our own self very strong, very convinced, very pure. So that will have effect on others, because the association of a devotee never goes in vain. So if we associate with them and we manage to slowly try to give them some higher knowledge, explain to them, because after all, they cannot explain. They don't have the answers to everything, but the devotee has all answers. So those who are fortunate, they will realize this, they will see. And of course, praying to Krishna that, my Lord, please give them some proper intelligence. But foremost of everything is to save oneself. That is the most important. We cannot actually control what others do. Of course, we can always try. Prasadam is there, you know. When we, for example, me here, I we have the temple in Montreal, but 50% of the time I'm here in Sutton, a small town, with my family. And I'm pretty much, the only devotee here that is desiring to preach and all of that. So I have to be surrounded by my mother, my sisters, who are all have their own um, philosophy of life and so on. But I do my deity worship here. I bring my two small deity every day. I do no matter what they say or do, and I chant my round in the morning. I put Prabhupada chanting, offer incense, cook prasadam. So my mother, she becomes influenced. Of course, my mother, she was practicing very seriously before as a devotee, but now I can see it's influencing her. She bows down. She comes to Gaura Nitai and bows down to them. And then I offer her the light that I offered. Okay, she takes, she smells the incense that I offered, she eats the prasadam that I cook. And at one point, I was chanting one round with my son here. She comes out with her bead bag, she chants one round. So, people who are pious, they will become influenced by devotees, by the association of devotees. And I can see also my sisters, they feel bad for doing sins. My sister, who used to be more serious in devotional life, so recently she went to a bar. So I did not say anything. They do their thing. What can I do? But then after that, she said, "Oh, I know that you judge me because I went to the bar and all." I mean, of course, I don't support that, but I'm not gonna use my energy to try to save everybody in my family. It's not like that. So I focus more on me and my son and my family like that. But you can see that she was feeling bad because she knows. So we act as a beacon in this world of sense gratification. People will recognize that devotees are pure. They're on another level. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. That will come to be noticed. And so individual strength is more important. If we become strong ourselves, then we can start helping. Okay, I can read here.
Yes, Prabhu. Some commentators on the Bhagavad Gita say that One who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord. But here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to the different planetary systems where various demigods are situated. Just as the worshipper of the sun achieves the sun, or the worshipper of the demigod of the moon achieves the moon. Similarly, if anyone wants to worship a demigod like Indra, he can attain that particular god's planet. It's not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the supreme personality of Godhead.
Yeah, this is
That
this
is,
mentality, yatamatta tapat. It's not just found. Whoops, one moment. It's not just that it's found in India, although I believe it's Vivekananda, is it, who said like that? Yatamatta tapat.
yes,
Anyway,
Prabhu.
yeah. Actually, this is it's the main philosophy amongst all, even Western so-called religionists or spiritualists, especially so-called self-stamped spiritualists. There are many ways. Respect everybody. Everyone will reach the same goal. This is my family members. They became contaminated with this philosophy also. And no, there's more than one way. You cannot claim like that. So again, this is based on illusion. This being a lack of knowledge. Actually, this illusory knowledge is in the mode of ignorance, right? That intelligence which cannot, know what is to be done, what is not to be done, is in the mode of ignorance. Huh? So it's not based on the Shastra. There is one scripture, is the Vedas. And other that come later on, this is it's one scripture. There's one God. There's one way to reach Him. That's it. So this whole idea of having different. Um, so what I do personally with my family, I don't go forward. But when somehow there's some conversation, I stay calm, first of all. I stay calm and I just show where they're wrong because they are going to show themselves as fool. You just let them talk. And you ask questions also, let them talk and let them show that they're fools.
Mm,
And then you show them that they're full, and then but that's when you have to corner them because they start, like for example, we were summertime, there was a camping, so I had to go camping with my family, so everybody's there. And then my sister starts to speak her philosophy that, but I don't want to give my life to surrender to someone and, learn from. So I say, how you can learn something without going to someone, slowly, and then like that. And then, well, but someone must be there to give you knowledge and not necessarily and like that. And at one point, she says we have to be good in life. So I say, what is good? You know. So then she stood up and she started to give her own definition of good. So then I told her, earlier you were saying that we don't need to learn from someone, and now you're taking the position of a teacher and you're teaching me. So immediately she was like, no, but you see, so like that
mm,
you block them. And if they try to escape, which they will try to do, when you start to become more smart than them, they might try to change topic. Then you bring them. No, no. You were saying like this, so why are you saying like that? This doesn't make sense. So you show them that they're foolish. But it's not your fault because they started talking about it. So what they'll do after that is that they'll start and they won't want to be talking their nonsense to you anymore. And they will see also that this person is in knowledge. He's not like a flimsy, because this is all they do. They're all flimsy. This yatamat tatapat means I rub your back, you rub my back. I'll speak nonsense, you don't talk against what I say. You speak nonsense and I won't talk against what you say. So when we come in with proper knowledge and we put them in their place, it's something that is shaking them. It's unheard, they're not used to that. So there is, and those who are intelligent, they will see, they will appreciate ultimately that here's someone who's, doesn't speak nonsense. So yes, he can attain particular God planet. It is not okay. You can continue.
yes, Prabhu. That it is not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the supreme personality of Godhead. That is denied here. For it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigod go to the different planets in the material world, but the devotee of the Supreme Lord goes directly to the Supreme Planet of the personality of Godhead.
Yes, so this is another thing that at least Hindus, they must accept the words of the Gita. So to quote for Hindus has got some weight, whereas in the West here, they'll just say, this is your book, it's not my book. But for Hindus, you can say, no, well, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Yanti Deva Vata Devan Pitrin Yanti Pitri Vitya Bhuteja Yanti Bhutani Yanti Madhya Jinopimam. So he says there's different way, you know. So by quoting like that also, they become impressed. They said this person knows the Gita. Okay, so there's some respect there. So if you're in a Hindu, you must know these verses. You must give them, and detached. By being detached of the result, whether they accept or not, at least you're putting it out there. And it cannot go to waste because you're speaking Krishna's words. Krishna and his words are not separate. They're the same. So by speaking that, you're bringing Krishna in front of them. They're associating with Krishna. Hmm? So they must
Yes, Prabhu.
at least they hear, oh, Krishna said that, and they don't know. One thing that we mistake sometimes to think that they know. They don't know anything. They are zero knowledge. So very little thing knowledge that we can give. This is addition for them. So you quote a verse like that, they have never heard that verse before, and then they'll be like, oh, and that will stay in their mind. They cannot remove that from their mind, correct? They
Yes,
cannot
Prabhu.
like unhear it. They have heard, and that's the okay.
Here, the point may be raised that if the demigods are different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, then the same end should be achieved by worshipping them. However, worshippers of the demigods are less intelligent because they don't know to what part of the body food must be supplied. Some of them are so foolish that they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. This isn't very sanguine. Can anyone supply food to the body, to the ears or eyes? They do not know that these demigods are different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord. And in their ignorance, they believe that each and every demigod is a separate god and a competitor of the Supreme Lord. Not only are demigods parts of the Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entities are also. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the Brahmanas are the head of the Supreme Lord, the Kshatriyas are his arms, the Vaishyas are his waist, the Shudras are his legs, and all serve different functions. Regardless of the situation, if one knows that both the demigods and himself are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves different planets where the demigods reside. This is not the same destination the devotee reaches.
So you see here, regardless of the situation, if one knows that both the demigods and himself are part of the parts of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, so again is based on knowledge, because even us sometimes we can worship demigods under certain uh, social pressure, let's say, or like some family members bring you to the Hindu temple, and there's nothing wrong bowing down to demigods. It's perfectly correct as long as you're situated in knowledge. Okay, we bow down to normal living entity, even father, mother. We should bow down to, of course, with we don't do that anymore. There's some sort of culture that is being lost, but so what to speak of demigod? There's no problem. So, but because we are situated in knowledge that these demigods are servants of Krishna, and Krishna is within them as Paramatma also. So I bow down. So that they don't know. So that too you can say, right? Like, but yes, okay, demigods are there, but Vishnu is situated within their heart. It's not that the demigods are also supreme deity that are non-different from their own body. They are different from their bodies. They're spirit soul, and the demigod body is also material. So Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddhisha arjuna tishtati. So he's situated in everyone's heart, including the demigod. So Vishnu is there as Paramatma. So that they don't know. It's not Shiva who's Paramatma. It's not Ganesh who's Paramatma. It's Vishnu. So this type of knowledge we should give them. So by preaching, okay.
Yes, Prabhu. The results achieved by the demigods' benedictions.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
The results achieved by the demigods' benedictions are perishable because within this material world, the planets, the demigods, and their worshippers are all perishable. Therefore, it is clearly stated in this verse that all results achieved by worshipping demigods are perishable, and therefore, such worship is performed by a less intelligent living entity. Because the pure devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional activities of the Supreme Lord achieves eternal blissful existence that is full of knowledge, his achievements and those of the common worshipper of the demigods are different. The Supreme Lord is unlimited, his favor is unlimited, his mercy is unlimited. Therefore, the mercy of the Supreme Lord upon his pure devotees is unlimited.
Yes, correct. And in the Vedas, you have story of people being demigods in past lives, right? Like
Yes,
the
Prabhu.
Pandavas, it is said they were all Indra in some past life. Did you know that? In the Mahabharata, it's mentioned the Pandavas were Indra in their past lives at one point. So you worship. So that shows that first of all, the demigods is just a position. It's not an eternal living being. It's a post that a living entity can achieve, right? But you never hear that the living entity was Vishnu in his past life. That does
Mhm.
not exist. It's not there in the Veda. It is Vishnu Tattva, it is Krishna and Narasimha. They're all incarnation and they're Nitya Lila. They're eternally existing, performing pastimes. You never hear that some Jiva was Vishnu before. And also we can see through the quality of the devotees, correct? If you see some devotee of Lord Shiva, who do we have? Okay, we have Narakasura, we have Ravan, we have, demons. But you don't find demons devotee of Lord Vishnu. It doesn't exist. Or if there is, they're not sinful. Like Prahlad Maharaj, he's a demon, so-called demon, pure devotee. Vritasura, so-called demon, pure devotee. They're not doing heinous deeds. Whereas devotees of demigods, they do heinous deeds. Huh? So this Hiranyakashipu, devotee of Brahma, horrible deeds that he did, but you will not find. If you see Vishnu, Narada Muni, huh? all beautiful Vaishnavas, beautiful devotee. So that is also. So these points can be shown. Unless we give them the knowledge, how will they know? But one thing is that we should give the knowledge as a matter of duty because we are brahmanas in society. We're the one with knowledge, no one else. So to study the Vedas and teach the Vedas. So we have to speak. Mm. And
Yes, Prabhu.
deity worship is also very important. Like I was mentioning earlier, because of my deity worship, it is influencing my mother and everybody that comes, and they must. So Hindus all have some respect for deities. They know. So if we have deities of Goranitai or the Shilagram Shila is actually very convenient. Maybe at one point, Shida Krishna Prabhu, you should take second and start worshipping the Shila.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because the Shalagram Shila is, first of all, for Grihasta, it is easy because it is quick. There's no need to change the clothes and all of this, and it doesn't require too much high standard. One offering a day, and little tulsi leaf like that, and that daily worship is our sadhana bhakti. It helps us be grounded in the morning. Every morning, I wake up, take my shower, chant a little bit, worship my Shila, and then the Shalagram will be there in the house. Of course, there's a specific type of Shalagram for Grihasta. Grihasta cannot worship any type. For example, the Ugra Narasimha cannot be worshipped by Grihasta. But anyway, so like this purifies the house. And the Hindus, naturally, they see Shila, they will, pranam. So devotional service. Man mana bhava mad bhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru. So they do some devotional service. So in two way we can get them. We can so-called not cheat them, of course. They don't know, but they lead them into doing devotional service unknowingly and give them some direct knowledge also. So like that gradually. Because it's not that it's impossible to purify one's family. It is possible. But we have ourselves to be pure, you know. What is that verse about purifying one's family? Can purify his whole family, but purify. You know that verse about the Brahmana who cannot purify his own, even his own family. Hmm, I think. Let me see. Because I'm also, it's funny because before I started my Krishna consciousness in China, I was far away from all my family. I was just with my wife, children, and Singapore was next door. So I never had to deal much with this family thing. And many devotees were telling me, "Oh, I have problem with my family, my family. What do I do? How to deal with my family?" Me, it was very minimum because I was talk sometimes they were far and away in Canada, and my wife's family just once in a while. But now that I'm back, whoa, I'm being tested. And this is a this is all the verses that I used to tell devotees that you should do like that. You should now I'm applying a lot of tolerance, you know, and I'm learning to more and more sort of deal with them the proper way. I try to be nice, because they will always appreciate that you're nice. I do my thing. Like they ask, can you do this? Yes, I can do that. Yeah. So have them like us, but at the same time, sometimes put our foot down, when there's some nonsense being spoken, we can come, very, very softly. So okay, I cannot find this verse, but it said that it's the verse that says, a Brahmana
Srimad Bhagavatam 7, 9, 10.
7, 9, 10. Okay. Is it concerning the Brahmana who cannot
Yes,
purify even his own family?
yes, bro.
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you. Yes, the 12th qualification. Correct. Can you read it? Can you read this, bro?
Yes, Prabhu. If a Brahmana has all 12 of the physical qualifications, as he has stated in the book called Sanat Sujata, but is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than the devotee who is a dog eater, but who has dedicated everything, mind, words, activities, and life to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana because the devotee can purify his own whole family, whereas the so-called Brahmana, of false prestige, cannot purify even himself.
So, okay, we could hear, but the sound was not so good. I don't know if it's just me, but we can understand.
Uh, it's very hard to hear, bro.
Yeah, okay. So maybe next time get closer to the mic, Shridhar Prabhu. So you see, because the devotee can purify his whole family, it's not that it's impossible, but it depends on our seriousness. We have got grace responsibility. Our spiritual advancement is not just going to affect us, it's going to affect our family members too. So that we should always remember. When I waste my time looking at my phone, when I don't do Krishna conscious activity, I'm harming my family too, because I could be liberating them. You see? But one thing, we need to have faith. Because you see, Prahlad Maharaj, his father did not become a devotee. His father did not start chanting Hare Krishna and all. But still he got liberation. So sometimes, even though I want my family member to whoever that is to start chanting Hare Krishna or something like that. It's not necessarily like this that the Lord will liberate that person, that family member. It is based also on us, you see. And that's called faith. Faith means that if I surrender to the Lord, everything will be done. Even though materially speaking, I might see that my family members are not devotees. And this is tough, you know. This is there. In the CC Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 62. Sridhar Krishna Prabhu, can you read this?
Yes,
Try.
Prabhu.
Yeah, okay.
Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service.
So you see, that is faith. If I just render devotional service, transcendental loving service to Krishna, everything else will be done. Even though I might not see it, even though I might not understand it. That is, I mean, this is scary because we are in the bodily concept of life. It might be scary for us. But look at Prabhupada. Prabhupada did not even make his wife and children proper, devotee, we can say, so-called, right? But what do you think that they're still in the material world, being wives of Prabhupada, wife and children of Prabhupada? No. So sometimes it's not the way that we want it. Sometimes Krishna has got some plan and he's got some higher intelligence, and we might not be able to understand that or accept it in the beginning. But if we build up our faith, we'll understand that this is the way that the Lord wants it to be done. So therefore, karmanyevadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana makarmapamayatubur nate sangustva karmani. Perform your duty, but don't be attached to the fruit, and don't be attached to not doing your duty. So us as grihastas or whatever, we have got some specific duty towards family members and others. So we should do these things. Should try to preach, try to show the way, try to that. But the result is up to the Lord. Mm. And we should not become despondent that, oh, it's not working. I cannot make my family members, devotee or so on. I should just stop everything. No, we should also continue. Mm. So we
Prabhu, I
were,
have a couple of questions.
yes, bro.
One is in the previous verse that you showed, there was mention of devotee who is a dog eater.
Mm.
What does that mean, Prabhu?
So dog eater means he might have been a dog eater, but now he's devotee.
Earlier. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that does not mean that he keeps eating dog as devotee.
Okay.
But it's there, right? Because Krishna consciousness movement, we can see it's spreading throughout the whole world. So they are some devotees who might have eaten dog prior to their starting this Krishna consciousness movement.
Hmm.
So according to Vedic culture, they are Chandal, correct?
Hmm.
But even such devotee, they can purify also their whole family if, what is that? If they do this transcendental devotional service. So that's a
Okay.
very important point because I cannot find it now. It was
It was in Bhagavatam
yeah,
1.
7, 9, 10, right? Is it that?
Yeah, I think so. 7, 3, 10. 7,
No,
3 or
7,
9,
9,
7,
10.
10.
9,
7,
10.
9, 10, Prabhu.
7, 9, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you see that who's a dog eater, but who has dedicated everything, minds, words, activity, wealth, and life to the Supreme Lord. So it's not that as soon as one chant Hare Krishna and liberate his whole family. It's not like that. He has to become a pure devotee. And that's why the purity of bhakti is so important. Because without the pure devotional service, you're not going to develop all the good quality. You're not going to be able to purify your whole family. So this whole idea of, we can accept a guru who is conditioned and we can chant Hare Krishna with offense and we'll get the same thing. is bogus. It's not supported by Shastra. They cannot even actually get good qualities because they're offenders. You know? Can you read this, bro?
Yes, Prabhu. All the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man?
So you see this unalloyed devotion. So if a devotee has unalloyed devotional service, then he will get all the good qualities. But if he is not, if his devotion is contaminated, he will not get. So this is an important point too. And you see, from that also we can understand that, okay, let's say you convince someone to start worshiping Krishna and give up the demigod worship. It's not the end, you know. There's so many devotees in the world and they worship Krishna. But for what end? To become convinced of this here has no good qualities. We appear to be fanatics to them. Because when you're in the bodily concept of life, you're bewildered. You start to make compromise with karmis, yogis, gyanis. I know, they're also good people. They're also good things. Sadhguru is doing nicely. Da, da, da. So we appear to be fanatics to them because we are not interested in this material world. We don't want it. They try to fix it. They try to praise it. Correct? They are praising just like we praise Krishna. Like, let me see if... So we praise Krishna, but they praise Maya. We do Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. We always praise Krishna, but they do Satatam Kirtayanto Maya. Oh, I went there, I saw this beautiful place, I took a nice walk. You're glorifying the external energy of the Lord. You're trying to establish his external energy as being Satchidananda. As if this place will always be there, as if you're fully cognizant of everything, as if that place gave you so much pleasure. That is illusion. They're trying to remain here. They're trying to fix this world. And in this way, they show themselves to be against Krishna. Because Krishna said, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartamojuna. From the highest planet down to the lowest places of misery. Pass. But they don't want to accept that. They said, no, there's many enjoyable things in this world. Even Kanishtadikari. That's the thing. So to become Krishna Bhakta is not the end. Even though one stops worshipping demigods, he comes to Krishna, there's still purification of one's desire that has to be there. One has to become Anyabhilashita Sunyam, Nirmatsaranam Satam, Nirmatsaranam, freed from any envy. You cannot be freed from envy as long as you want to enjoy your senses. Even though you chant Hare Krishna, you'll be an envious, third class devotee. So this philosophy is not for everybody. When you start to speak about this renunciation spirit, oh no, how can renounce? How can? So sense gratification, it's not just that demigod worshippers have it. Devotees can also have it if they are not situated properly. So we'll go back to this 7th chapter. I'll try to finish this.
So one more question.
Yes, bro.
Uh, you mentioned that Hiranyakashipu also got a liberation, right? But that was only a Sayujya liberation. And I think Prabhupada has many places said that that liberation is not really a liberation.
No, but that was, of course, it came later, correct?
Huh.
came a
Okay,
few
but at
lives.
that time,
Yeah, but that anyway, 2, 3 lives in the material world or eternally, you can still say it is liberation, correct?
okay, because that is considered temporary liberation, right? It's only in the
Yeah.
Brahman effulgence.
No, 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 but the pure devotee brings his family back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead,
Okay,
It is
so
not
because
that.
of Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, yes, yes. They are
Okay.
going back. So no one can say, oh, but they're Jai and Vijay, my family. No, the Lord did not just say them, right? He did not just
Hmm.
say the Father. What does he say after that? 21 generations, right? Is there after
Hmm.
that? You should always continuously hear, variously powerful and so on. Yeah. See, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Prahlad, O most pure, O great saintly person, your father has been purified along with 21 forefathers in your family. Because you were born in this family, the entire dynasty has been purified. So we often tend to think, oh, let me help others in my family. But actually, by becoming a pure devotee ourselves, we help all of them in one stroke. So that is actually the real way to help one's family members. So the real sannyasis, those who completely take 100% to devotional service, to preaching, leaving family matters aside away, they actually the real those who can really help their family members, because Krishna will
Prabhu,
take care.
this 21 generations before and after, is
Mm.
it like without any condition, or is there a condition that those people in those generations should also have shown some
Uh,
devotion?
you can read here, Prabhu.
The Supreme, the word Trisaptabhi means 7 multiplied by 3. In one's family, one can count back 4 or 5 generations to one's great grandfather or even one's great grandfather's father. But since the Lord mentions 21 forefathers, this indicates that the benediction expands to other families also, before the present family in which one has taken birth. One must have been born in other families. Thus, when a Vaishnava takes birth in a family, by the grace of the Lord, he purifies not only that family but also the families of his previous births.
So not only this birth, but previous birth also, that counts, right? So
Hmm.
here there's no such thing as some you have to have done some bhakti or what. Hiranyakashipu did not do any bhakti, correct? He's done only sins.
Because I remember once asking Sundar Gopal Prabhu, the question was, what if the people in those generations uh, were very sinful? Will they still get liberated? And I'm not sure what I remember, but I think it was something like they should have shown some kind of devotion.
Hmm. Well, here we
I
see
don't
that
remember actually.
hmm, Hiranyakashipu did not show any sign of devotion. We have to take from his current life. We cannot say he's Jai and Vijay, because ultimately we all fell from the spiritual world too. The
Hmm.
Lord liberated him through Prahlad, because he actually
Hmm.
became conditioned, we can say. Correct. Of course, everything was made by the Lord's plan, but he killed, he was sinful, he was like that. So he committed so many sins, but he also became liberated by Prahlad Maharaj. So anyway, everything is in the control of Krishna. He will
Yes.
he will take care. It's not that he will miss out something. You
Hmm.
see, and it is said that a pure devotee's desire automatically become, I mean to say, fulfilled. We see
Hmm.
also the same thing with Dhruva Maharaj, right? As soon as he had
Hmm.
a thought of, oh, what about my poor mother? Then immediately he saw his mother there next to him. So it's not that Krishna will be forgetting something that we want. Everything will be complete, right? What did Dhruva Maharaj say? Now, Krita Swamin Kritartosmi. I'm fully satisfied. So it's not that if we completely surrender, that there will still be some lack in satisfaction somewhere. It won't. Krishna will have taken care of everything.
Hmm. Okay,
So,
bro.
but this is our lack of faith actually. We have this hard time accepting that full surrender. It's something scary because we are still under the impersonal conception, more or less. Because we think we'll lack something. If I surrender fully to Krishna, I'm gonna lack something. So lacking means emptiness, right? So it's a fear of spiritual life, thinking it to be some sort of empty state, that I'm not going to be having, whatever I have now. This is the bodily concept of life, material attachment, very strong. So, so the Lord goes on saying, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So this is the basic, we continue with this demigod worship theme topic, that ultimately the Hindus, they have got this understanding, is that Brahman is higher than everything. All the demigods are there, but higher than that is Brahman in personal feature. And that's why there's so much confusion. They do not know that it's the opposite way, correct? So if it's Brahman who's impersonal, when Brahman comes here, then he takes the shape of Surya, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, like that. All these different demigods. So that is and again, Krishna sanctions that, unintelligent man. He says, avyaktam vyaktimapanam manyate mam abuddhaya. This is the word that the Lord uses, less intelligent person. So how many times Krishna is saying less intelligent, not intelligent, lack of intelligence, so much. So, and then the Lord explains why they cannot understand. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So, because they are covered, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. So, the Lord doesn't want to be revealing Himself to everybody. Yoga Maya Samavrita, Mudho Yam Nabijanati Lokamam Ajavami. Again, Mudho. He calls them Mudha, foolish. So he doesn't manifest himself. So ultimately, is when Krishna will become pleased with these people that they will understand. So our business is to try to make these people fortunate, make the unfortunate fortunate. And that is in our power. You see, at least, every devotee has got some free will to try to help others. That is there. And if we pray, if we really try and pray, Krishna will accept. Of course, for us, it's more through Prabhupada. It's not directly, correct? It's Srila Prabhupada who will do the dealings between us and the other devotees. It's not that us directly, but it's not that we are not dear to Krishna. We should not think that. Mm. Because we are trying to serve Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is very dear to Krishna, correct? And Krishna says this himself, devotee of my devotee, right? Even devotees of my devotees. If anybody knows this verse, what is that? What to speak of my devotee, he said, right? Even devotee of my devotee.
Prabhu, it is Madhya Leela
Yeah.
11:28.
No, I was looking for, or maybe there too, but I was looking for Bhagavatam. So 9:463. 9:463. So maybe it's that same verse quoted there. We'll see after. Line 463 here. Anybody would like to read this?
I can continue, Prabhu.
Yes.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said to the Brahmana, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the course of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me.
See, so it would be a little bit proud of ourselves to say we are devotees of Krishna, correct? But at least we are devotees of Prabhupada. That is the correct. We are at least trying to our level best, following the regulative principle, chanting 16 rounds, rising early, So Krishna says we are dear to him too. So we also, can try to bring some mercy to others through, of course, Prabhupada. I mean to say, linking others to Prabhupada's mercy, like that, acting as a transparent via medium. So it's possible. We can purify our family member, we can help them. But again, we can see that it's not always the way that we might think that it's going to occur. But it could be also in this very life. We've seen it, how some devotee have changed their family members. Sometimes some of them, not all of them, but some of them. Right? We see it like Talit Prabhu, he made his brother, Rajikishore Prabhu devotee, he made his mother, his sister devotee, right? So when a devotee is born in a family, it often happens that he can convert. I mean to say he can bring other members to devotional service. Is there any further questions or maybe comments on this topic? What is that verse that you were quoting just now, Srila Krishna Prabhu?
It's Madhya Leela 11:28, Prabhu.
So is it that same verse?
Yeah, it's the same verse.
But yeah, 11,
11.28.
28, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, direct devotee. Yeah, but this one means are not actually my devotee. Those who are devotee of my devotee, yeah, are actually my devotees.
Actually.
Yeah. That one too, correct. But is servant of my servant are actually my devotees. Yes, this one we can understand that Krishna calls us devotees. The other one says that we are dear to him also.
Prabhu, but how do we understand the statement where he says, Krishna says, direct devotees are not devotees?
Well, that just means those who think that they're devotees of the Lord, they're not actually, because a devotee never thinks that I'm Krishna's devotee.
Hmm.
A devotee always thinks I'm a servant of the servant. So if one has got this mentality to think that he's a direct devotee, he means he's proud.
So basically, if one does not go through a spiritual master or something.
Yeah, one doesn't go
Hmm.
through a spiritual master, to an associate of the Lord, correct? So that refers to all the sahaja, basically. It's the Lord saying that all these sahajas, just like all these Baba. There's this famous Babaji, he's dressed in yellow, he's got this red tilak, long beard, long hair. I start to see him a lot on Facebook and all. He's in Vrindavan, I think. So he doesn't follow the six Goswami. How can he be an actual devotee of Krishna? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
He speaks always of Radha, Krishna, the gopis, and this and that. So we can recognize them because we are properly connected. We've got knowledge from Prabhupada. But those who are fools, who wants to be cheated, they want something cheap, and they will go to such persons. But Krishna says, no, they're not my devotee, and they're not going to him. They're staying here in the material world. You follow such a person, you stay here in the material world also.
So, Prabhu, like what happens to devotees who directly worship Vishnu? Like in Hindu temples, we see Vishnu is there, but of course, Prabhupada is not there, or any spiritual master is not there. So, what happens to those devotees, Prabhu? Are they getting mercy of the spiritual master?
Krishna is
sometime in
not
their future.
Krishna is not pleased, you know. The whole point is to please the Lord. It, it's not to worship the form, you know, necessarily. It's to please Krishna. So if you actually want to please Krishna, you need to know what he wants. It's not that you do anything and everything and he's gonna be pleased. You have to listen to what he wants, how he wants it. Correct? So uh, um, where is that? Uh, see this? Can you read this?
The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of the senses.
So you see, the pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. So how you can say you respect the acharyas when you're not actually following their instruction? That is not
Yes, Prabhu.
respect. It's not that we do whatever we want and Krishna will be pleased with us. Huh? And there's this verse too.
Yes, Prabhu. Like for example, in Srinivasa Perumal temple in Singapore, they they are not aware of this knowledge, and they go and worship the deity form, like you mentioned, but they are not seeing the spiritual master, or they are not aware about this process.
Hmm. So they don't have the knowledge. So if they're actually worshiping Vishnu, there's some result in worshiping Vishnu, you know? It's not that your heart stay filled with so many material desires and you worship Vishnu. That's not Vishnu worship. Vishnu worship means you become freed from material desire. So the very fact that they continue their same ways, even though they're being pujari for 20, 30 years, shows that they're not actually worshiping. Krishna is just not pleased with them. There is, what is this word? There's a verse that maybe I was in the right place and notation always hears. There's a verse that says that the Lord is not pleased with their worship of the Murti. Maybe if you know. Okay, you can read here. Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
You did.
I am present in every living entity as the super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. One who worships the deity of Godhead in the temples but does not know the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated in every living entity's heart must be in ignorance and is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes.
You see? So they do not have this knowledge that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart and that we should try to come to that platform of understanding the soul being beyond caste. You see, these pujari, they think in terms of Hindu, correct?
Hmm.
This
Yes,
whole
Prabhu.
mentality is in the bodily concept of life.
One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities.
Inimical behavior, Prabhupada explains, right? In the CC, when we speak of um, envy, what is envy? Means to not preach. To not preach when the definitions of all the anarthas in the heart, the unwanted creeper. So the unwanted creeper of envy or inimical behavior means to give up preaching Krishna consciousness. That is inimical. So these pujaris, paid pujaris, paid, correct? They wouldn't be there if they didn't get the
Yes,
salary.
Prabhu.
Huh?
Yes.
So they are envious. They cannot become separatists. They cannot attain a peace of mind because they keep an inimical behavior. And this is the verse I was speaking about. Yeah.
My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple.
There you go. So ultimately, you might be worshipping the form, but you have got not proper understanding. You don't have the proper knowledge that Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. So a preacher has got this knowledge. Otherwise, there would be no point in the preacher to help others. If these people are not, you see, like the, the mentality of let's say, Christians, let's say, or Muslims, that there are those who they are go to God, and those who are against God eternally. They think that there's something outside of God. There's God, there's a devotee of God, and then there's something outside of God. But we don't think like that. Even though we say demon and devotee, we understand that God is also in the heart of the demon. That they do not know. Huh? So as long as you remain in this bodily concept of life, not wanting to help others, and this is not just Hindu temple. This is also in our own movement. If one wants to remain with his deity worship, thinking that he's better than everybody, but not taking some austerity in order to help others, then the Lord is not pleased with his worship. You know. So this is it. It's we're not about cheating. We don't want to be cheater. We want to be honest devotees. And honesty can only be there when we follow the instructions of the bona fide acharya. That's all. If you do not surrender to the bona fide acharya, you're not honest. You must be situated in your own mental concoction. That is
Yes, Prabhu.
humility. Humility means you surrender. You stop saying what you think. It's only devotees who are humble because they surrender. Others are not surrendered. Others, they speculate their own thing. So, okay. Any
Yes,
other
Prabhu.
questions or comment?
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a comment. So, when we give this knowledge to common people who are karmis, unfortunately, they are not in that purified state. They won't be able to take it at all. And that too in general Hindus. But when they chant only, they get this purification. How can we, uh, you know, help them? So,
Yes, so that's why if you see how Prabhupada was organizing program, it was chanting, lecture, chanting, prasadam. So the knowledge is only 1/4 of the whole thing. Mainly is chanting, then little knowledge, then again chanting, and then prasadam. So 1/4 only speaking the knowledge, because people are, like you're saying, they're not very purified. They become agitated. So that's why we cannot expect that the whole thing they will understand in one meeting. They have to come, again hear the chanting, again take prasadam, again take the chanting, take prasadam, chant, take prasadam. That is very potent, this program of hearing, chanting, and taking prasadam. We see it always. We had a house program a couple of days back in one Mataji's house. So she invited her Hindus and Sikh relatives, and even some South American mother and daughter and son. They all came. So when we entered the place, well, it was cold. There was not a good ambience. There was not a good atmosphere. And then we started the kirtan and chanted together, then little lecture, and then another kirtan, and after that prasadam. And by the end of the night, wow, everybody was happy. The whole mood had changed. But during the lecture, you could tell they were a bit tense. They were, oh, nah. But then another kirtan, and they like it. They clap their hands and all, and then prasadam, oh, they love it. So it's the program. Prabhupada has put a standard program, so we should follow that. That's all. Invite them, kirtan, lecture, kirtan, prasad. That's it, and that will help them. But directly coming and preaching, that's not so much effective. Even Prabhupada said what your 5 minutes lecture will do, you know. So better thing is you try to give them a book. They don't want a book or something, then okay, come and have some nice meal. Some.
Unfortunately, nowadays with media and stuff, people don't read books at all. In fact, devotees themselves, I've seen like so many people who not reading it at all. So it's like now with social media and stuff, it's very tough for common people to read at all.
Yeah, but we cannot stop the process, right? Because the process has
Yes.
been given to us by Prabhupada. He says, distribute my books. So somehow we have to do. I was not a big reader before becoming a devotee, you know. I never really liked reading books. But by the purification and all, I started to like. So it's not the same process as them. Liking to read books, not liking to read books, that's under the material energy according to the modes. But when you come to Krishna consciousness, it's a different energy altogether. It doesn't have to do with material skills, you know. So
Mhm.
they see the book, they touch the book, they see Krishna, they might open, they might read one thing. So Krishna is within their heart. You know, all of a sudden they might think, oh, let me read one book in my life after all. Who knows? This is Krishna who decides, you know. So,
Mm.
like I said, I must have read on. I can maybe count on one or two hands the amount of books I had read before being a devotee. But after becoming a devotee, yeah, I developed a taste for reading Prabhupada books. So it's different, you know. It's not the same energy at all.
Yeah.
So Krishna is in control. So if we just follow the instructions of Prabhupada, then there will be some result. Prabhupada says, by distributing my book, the movement will automatically increase. So we must have faith in that. That the more books out there, the more this movement is increasing.
Mm.
Even though we might not see the result now, it will come. You
Mm.
know, that's for certain. But definitely the programs are very important. Very
Mm.
important because this is sadhu sangha. They come and they associate with devotees. When
Mm.
there's kirtan and when there's good kirtan, Prabhupada said, good kirtan, good lecture, good prasadam. That's a hit, you know. You get it. And good kirtan doesn't necessarily mean a good musical instrument always. It means the singing purely, you know.
Mm.
If you listen, there's some some audio files of Prabhupada, in his first kirtan. Actually, it's a kirtan I had never heard before. Now Manu Prabhu, you know, in his phone he shared. So it was actually, I think, it's the first kirtan recorded by Prabhupada because it was in Dr. Mishra's ashram. So very
Mm.
beginning, 1965, you know.
Mm.
And it's just Prabhupada singing, and there's like one little drum. That's it. But you go into a trance, you know, when you listen to that kirtan. It's just very meditative, and
Mm.
so it's about the purity. It's not necessarily how many people and all, but how much one just wants to sing. Okay, Prabhupada, you know, he asked me to sing. He asked me to sing for the Lord. Let me do that and not care for what others think.
Mm.
But when one gets into that mood, then the purification will be there. We're The problem with us is that we're under the spell of material energy, always trying to please the senses of others except Krishna, you know. So we become
Mm.
disturbed in kirtan thinking, what is the other thinking about me now? You know, this is Maya. This is serving Maya,
Mm.
correct? Serving the senses of others instead of Krishna.
Mm.
That mentality has to be given up, you know.
Mm.
So good kirtan, good class, and good prasadam. Then we're sure that people will appreciate, and you will feel the envy lift from the heart of people. People will not be envious of one another anymore.
When they're with us, usually I've seen like the karmis, like when they're with us and when they're singing, they'll accept everything what we say. The
Yeah,
moment they associate with other people, they're completely,
and
in
they go
Maya.
back. Yeah,
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 they go back to square one.
they go back. Not square one because it's never lost, but yeah, the consciousness plunges again. But
Mhm.
it's okay because we should be concerned more about ourselves, you know. Did I do something today for others? Did I try to help these people today? You know, this is, of course, we don't have the compassion that Prabhupada has, but did I try to do something that Prabhupada asked me to do? Did I go outside my comfort zone today for Prabhupada, you know.
Mm.
So that should be the aim, that let me try to do something, let me try to follow the instructions of my spiritual master. That should be the main thing, because the mercy and all that is Prabhupada. He's the one who wants to save them all. We are unfortunately not so much concerned about others' welfare, you know.
Mm.
But that will come if we continue more and more. We'll start to develop some genuine feelings of wanting to help others. You know. Okay, so thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
really hope that we can meet again soon. You know, now we are here. We're in the same continent at least. You know, so I hope that we can organize a longer preaching trip in America next year. That would be nice, you know, if we can go to the West Coast also.
Sure.
Or if some of you can come to Montreal, maybe not in winter, it's very harsh here, but you know, summertime or something. We have to arrange, we have to, especially us North American devotees, we have to stand together, try to associate with one another more and more. It's not that we will stay like that always, no, you know, it will grow. It will grow for certain. We have to have faith in this. So Nagopa Prabhu started very small too, you know. It was very tough for him, but it took decades. But now just see what he accomplished in Singapore. Such a nice community is there. So we can have many such communities also in North America. We just need to continue praying, continue trying to do whatever we can, you know, and gathering ourselves like this. This is very important also to discuss Krishna Katha together, because we increase our affection for one another. This is the basis of what this movement can be built upon, you know, is the devotees' relationships. So without that, what's the use of everything, actually? You know, this is life, to discuss about Krishna in the association of devotees. This is the eternal nature of the living entity, eternal activity. So that's what we have to develop more and more. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
It's already 10:10 here in the Eastern Coast. Okay, thank you
Hare
all. So I
Thank
think
you.
this is
Hare
a
Krishna, Prabhuji.
good
Danvat Pranam.
arrangement.
Jai Shila Prabhupada.
Jai
Thank
Shri
you very
Prabhupada.
much.
Vanchikai
Thank you very much,
Patari.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Jai Ho. Hare. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Haribol. Guru Shakti Prabhu and others, please join the Japa session if you're free.
I'll join, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.